Cool. How's it going, man?
Hey, brother, how you doing?
Good. Before you get started, like I like to usually like to keep these and like make little clips out of them for my content and stuff like that. You okay
Mm-hmm.
if I record it?
That's fine.
Okay, cool.
Yep, that's fine.
Oh, I like it. Okay, I'm just looking because it looks like if I keep it a certain way, it records it top bottom like this, which is
Yeah, I
how
see
I
that
want
as
it.
well.
Versus, yeah, I want it that way instead of this way because
No, instead of the side by side.
yeah, I don't like the side by side. I like top bottom. Cool. All right, cool. How's your night so far?
Good. I took this weekend off. Uh, my wife and my mother-in-law went to a murder mystery train thing down here, and then I was just watching the girls for the night.
Okay. Wait. You got three kids, you said, or two?
I have two girls.
Two girls. Okay. Only girls.
Hmm.
You want a boy?
Yeah, I have a 10-year-old and a 5-year-old. I'm done. My wife wants to try for a boy, but there's a there's a lot. Our last pregnancy was very difficult, so
Mm,
it was extremely difficult.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's funny. Like my wife is the strongest woman I know. So when she got pregnant, we had our first doctor's visit, and we ended up finding out she was had cancer, had breast cancer.
Oh,
She
yeah, I
was
think I remember you telling me about that. Yeah.
yeah, stage 3 breast cancer. So her sense of humor is amazing, and like she has this shirt that says, "Yeah, they're fake, but my last one's tried to kill me." You know, she's, she's amazing. Of all the things I've been through, when they say, behind every strong man, there's a strong woman. She's been next to me this whole time. So I cherish that. Um, I work for the sheriff's office up here. I've been in 3 shootings, and every time she's been there for me 100%, and I cherish her. you know
Yeah. Where are you at, by the way? Like, what state are you in?
Florida.
Oh, Florida.
West.
Okay. Oh, it's
Yeah,
crazy
West
over
Coast.
here. What West Coast Florida? West part of
Yeah.
Florida? Yeah.
Yeah, I was born in Jamaica,
Mm,
and my parents brought me over here when I was 6. Grew up in Broward, Miami area, and then I moved over here when I got hired with the sheriff's office.
hmm. So, but how old were you when you moved to the States?
Uh, 6, 7.
Okay.
Yeah, the accent I could bring it out, but only when I'm mad. So it's usually that's usually when that happens. When I'm at work, people are like, "Oh, Corey's mad again." So
If you don't mind, hold on one second. I want to refill this. I had a drink. One TikTok that I saw with this white guy who was Jamaican. Did you see that one? Where
uh,
he with his black chip. They're both in a car together.
is he a comedian too? There's one called White Yachty. He's from Britain though, but he's Jamaican. There's a couple of Chinese Jamaicans I follow.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, they're Chimaicans. That will throw you for a loop.
Yeah.
An Asian person with a Jamaican accent. It throws you for a loop. But Jamaica is actually there's a lot of Chinese and Koreans that are in Jamaica because there was the spice trade
Mm,
uh, along with excuse me along with a number of trades. Like my mother on her side, she's more Indian.
mm.
Um, on her side of the family, it's straight Indian, like Bollywood Indian.
Oh, nice.
So, but there again, the spice trade that happened with Jamaica, and established a lot of Indian and Asian immigrants.
Yeah, that makes
So,
sense. Yeah,
but
there's a
yeah,
guy. There's a guy who's like, it's him. It's a white guy and his black friend. Because people asked why he had a Jamaican flag, and he was saying like, "Cause I'm Jamaican," and then people were like, asked questions like, "Why you speak with an accent?" And he's like, "You can be white and Jamaican." He was like
Yeah,
explaining that to
that's
people.
you only get that here though in the States. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of like Jamaicans know a lot of white Jamaicans that were born in Jamaica. Um, especially like a lot of Asian Jamaicans as well. I mean, it's just that the in America, and you see this on both political spectrums, there is a certain mindset of how things are supposed to be around the world.
Hmm.
And it's hard to break people out of that.
Yeah.
Like I
Oh,
remember speaking about mindset. So I had an interview when I first because I wanted to be a cop since I was 13. Reason being is because I was arrested at 13.
oh.
Yeah, so I was arrested for loitering and prowling. I was throwing eggs at cop cars. But I was arrested, and my dad. I remember they called him, and he goes, "It's like, hey, your son's been arrested. Can you just come? He's at juvenile hall. Can you come just pick him up?" My dad says, "Well, I mean, I want him. You can't leave him there." and and I knew when he said that, I was like, oh, I was in for it. And they had to bring me home. He wouldn't come get me. And when they brought me home, um, he beat me within inches of my life.
Wow.
And then he said, nope, not my kid. Both my mom was right there behind him. And yeah, I hated it then, but it served its purpose. And I didn't see the light of day for a year. Straight home from school, and that's it. No going out with your friends, no playing soccer. Yeah, we used to play soccer out in the streets. They don't do that nowadays.
Yeah.
But fortunately for him, and then he put me in a police explorer program. And he said he thought it would be good for me. And I met some really cool cops that really cared about the community, that were just chill, you know, and kept me in line and led me to where I'm at now.
And you said it's a police explorer program?
Yeah. So, I don't know what state you're in, but in the state of Florida, we do have the police explorer programs. You could be in it up to 18. So usually the police department will have they're just they're cadets, and they help out with my explorer program was in Broward County, and we helped out with baby seat checks. We helped out with food drives under the police department,
Right.
and they had a whole rank structure and everything like that, and it kind of guided you to be sponsored by that agency if you stayed in it long enough.
Right.
So it many agencies have it. The agency I'm with now does not have it, but there's a lot of police departments that have like explorer programs.
We didn't have that when I grew up, but I was in something that was kind of like that. What I was in, it was the youth court program.
Hmm.
So like you could be a part of like the legal department, and that would be like you would kind of be there was a but the cops were included in it. So like you would have somebody, but it was more based on the legal system entirely. So you could have we would actually have trials for cases, real cases from like minorities, like like little things like maybe vandalism or whatever, and we would prosecute and defend and have a jury, and then have like the bailiff and like have all the different aspects of the legal system. We held it ourselves.
Huh.
Yeah.
So th- I like things like that because it once you're in it and then you start seeing, because we also did ride-alongs too. Once you're about 16, you're eligible to do ride-alongs with, you had to sign the waiver, and you really get to see what goes on, you know, in the department, just on any routine calls. My agency right now suspended ride-alongs. We've actually suspended them since 2014 after the Ferguson incident.
Oh, huh.
We
What is that connected or like what?
No, it's not connected. It's just that after that, we were having a lot of ambushes on law enforcement. We still
Mm,
do, but it
yeah.
was more of a liability issue. The legal department was like, it's too much of a risk. I mean, the job in itself is a risk, but there was an uptick in that. And it was right after the 5 Dallas police officers were ambushed and shot at the Black Lives Matter protest,
Mm,
that our sheriff at the time was said no.
mhm.
So
And
it,
that was back in 2014?
yeah,
Dang.
yeah. I follow all of this stuff like because it's my niche. So
Right.
like I really started getting into politics. I voted for Obama twice. I was very like in politics in high school, and then as I got older, I started becoming more middle of the road,
Mhm.
and now I'm more conservative. But I still like to call out bull crap on,
On both sides.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it is starting to seem like a duality of the same coin when you see, and I call them neolibs and neocons,
Mhm.
the establishment of DC in
Mhm.
essence. So I started all that following and stuff, and I started following local anything with law enforcement related, and I call bullshit out in law enforcement too. I mean, um, there's currently one guy on the current shift. So let's give you a quick background on what what I have done. I've been in, I would say, the criminal justice field. I did 5 years state corrections. I worked at a state prison in Miami, and that was fun. I saw a man cut open his own penis with a razor. That was fun. Like slit that motherfucker open. I was like, "Why are you doing that?" He's like, "Come in here, come in here." I was just waiting till you pass out, bro. I'm not gonna go in there. You're gonna, because there's a lot of blood.
Yeah.
So, um, then I put myself through the academy. I also put myself through college while I was in the academy, and now I'm with the sheriff's office. I'm with now. I've been here for about 8 years. I did 3 years as a detective, 3.5 years, and then I switched to their selective enforcement team. Um, when I say selective enforcement team, some of my friends, I got some hood friends. They're like, selective enforcement team, huh? Who you selective enforcing? you know, and but we just focused on certain upticks in crime trends. If we had more vehicle burglaries, we would focus on that. If we had
Mm,
increase in robberies, we would focus on that. And typically, it's our usual players around here. People do the same thing,
mhm.
continue to do the same thing. They don't have any other recourse. So I've done that. Recently, our team got disbanded because our agency is short 55 positions. Um,
Sure.
and there's a reason for that. Recruitment in law enforcement is low. Not many people want to be cops anymore. Um,
Yeah.
and it's understandable. Um, between being demonized and called all type of names, whether you are a black person in law enforcement or not. And it's very hard. We don't see too many black individuals coming into law enforcement, or they'll come into law enforcement and they'll go to like court ops or corrections, not so much in on the road
Mhm.
interacting with people. And I don't like that. I think we should have as many different opinions, voices, and lifestyles on the road to
Yeah.
interact with people. Um, so back onto now, I'm on the road. I'm on road patrol, which I like road patrol because it's at my own schedule. When I was a detective, I had 30 cases at any given time, and I was doing casework at my daughter. She does, my oldest does karate. I'm doing casework at her dojo, watching her. Now I started seeing that I was taking away too much time, you know. So, and then I had to stop jujitsu because I wasn't able to do that anymore. I didn't have the time to
Mm.
do that as well. So, and also I hurt my knee, but we'll just say it's not the knee. But
I do jujitsu, right?
oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, how long you been doing it?
I've been doing I've been doing it for 2 years consistently, and the first time I started doing it was probably about say 6 years ago. But then I did wrestling like my whole life, so that gave me a real solid thing.
I stopped after a year. I hurt my knee.
Mm,
And when I was going to go back, I was too focused on my casework and stuff like that. Actually, I'm going to start back um, in a couple of weeks.
Mm.
But I honestly, speaking about law enforcement, Joe Rogan said this before, and I totally agree with him.
Mm.
He said that every law enforcement officer should be at least a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, and totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it, just manipulating the body, because all of our fights, every fight I've been in, ended up on the ground.
Yeah.
Every fight, it doesn't matter if it always end up on the ground, and then you'll have like it's the pylon, it's the police officer pylon.
All right, hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
Babe, come here. No, you gotta come here. This is good. I should hear this. I want to hear this. All right. Say what you just said to me, starting with Joe Rogan. I want to hear this is my girl, Sarah.
Hey.
Hello.
She's doing her exercises, but I just want her to hear this part.
So Joe Rogan, we were talking about jiu-jitsu, and Joe Rogan said that every police officer should be at least a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. I 100% agree with him. Like I was saying earlier, it is, you get into when everybody's piling on, everybody wants to get on top, and you have everyone yelling at this person, stop resisting. I got an arm, the other guy's got an arm, and no one's working together. And then you end up getting your partner's arm. Oh, wrong arm. And then you just
and you said
go ahead.
And you said like every scuffle that you've been in ends up
always end up on the ground.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Every fight I've been in ended up on the ground, from when I was in corrections, and now I'm on the road. So I've learned a way not to get that. And that also is with jujitsu. Like I've been on like I said, I've been on the road for 8 years. So as you get into the 8-year mark, you're kind of trying to see like retirement. I got another 15 years, and then I'm like, oh, retirement's looking good. So you don't really want to get into doing too much physical stuff. Also, you don't want to do paperwork, because I don't know if you guys ever seen Hot Fuzz. You seen Hot Fuzz?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, the part. Yeah, it's a movie, and the part that says when he said he saw Bad Boys 2, he's like, "You ain't seen Bad Boys 2, right?" So after they watched Bad Boys 2, he said, "Oh, that is amazing, but there's no way that you could encourage that amount of carnage without getting that much paperwork." That is my task, is not to do paperwork. So recently, the agency is switching with the times. We're doing a lot of de-escalation training.
Yeah.
So they go to every district and they do de-escalation training. And they're like, "Oh, you do great in de-escalation training." I was like, "Yes, because I don't want to do paperwork. We should call it de-escalating paperwork." Because we'd have a lot of the younger deputies come out, and they're 22, full of piss and vinegar, and they're ready to go.
Yeah.
And they're just ready to get in a fight. And going back onto the jiu-jitsu, like with UFC and mixed martial arts, there's a lot of people out there that are pretty trained. And you will have also, you got crackheads too, are strong, so strong. It could be 100 pounds. But you have a lot of people that are trained. So I always say, like, don't so rush into getting into a fight. It's better for you, especially for optics. I'm big on optics. I don't wear an ass baton. Okay, I said ass baton. It's asp with a P. So it's the collapsible baton. So
yeah,
I don't wear it because it's bad optics. If I'm going to be sitting there on TV beating somebody it just looks horrible, and so I'd rather not do that. And going back into jiu-jitsu, it's whether, manipulating joints and just laying on top of somebody, just laying on top of them, or, a key lock or something like that. And it doesn't look as bad to the general public.
Yeah.
So that goes back into training and de-escalation, and just not going hands-on.
Yeah. No, I just want to hear that because of how I say that. Man, why don't they train cops in jiu-jitsu to get blue belt minimum, but purple belt ideally?
Yeah,
and
purple belt is pretty advanced.
Yeah.
One thing I love with jiu-jitsu, sorry for cutting you, is that it is so hard to get. It takes so long, but it's a reason for that. and
Yeah.
it shows dedication. We have our own training bureau at our agency, and they started doing
Mm,
basic guards, mounts, dismounts, um, side control, because a lot of
mm.
times you end up on the ground and it's curtailed a little bit more for law enforcement, because my thing is I'm trying to keep my gun sight away from something.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm doing a side control, I would rather be on the left side where my gun is on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
and not on the I would say right side where my gun's here, and then I'd have to control their arm as well.
Yeah.
But I could, okay, my gun is safe here,
Yeah.
so I could, do a scarf hold or something like that to just keep him there and just wait. A
Yeah.
lot of times it's, hey, our backup is going to be 5 minutes away or 2 minutes. Usually with my agency, we run in packs. So we're still separate cars, but we're roughly about 2, 3 blocks away from each other. And you could always tell when somebody's in trouble. Like, they're like, send me another unit. And they're like, well, why is his voice cracking like that? You all right? And then we'll make fun of him later. You know what I mean? It's like, hey man, your voice is cracking real hard. You know what you're talking about, man. My voice ain't cracking. Hey, your voice is cracking, bro. I don't know what to tell you. So it you are
Yeah.
100%. And I think
Mhm.
more agencies should focus on, yeah, because everybody wants to focus on shooting.
Yeah.
Hey, well, I'm gonna go,
Yeah.
but it was
Yeah.
nice to meet you
Yes,
guys.
Yeah.
nice
I
talking
don't
to
want to
you.
hold the burner exercise thing, but no, I just wanted to hear that. But yeah, yeah, it's funny because okay, so my feeling on that is because I do jujitsu, and when people do come in who are not trained, no matter how big they are, I can control them pretty much. And I'm thinking like when I see every time I see like scuffles where cops are involved, like 95, maybe even more percent, it's like they don't really they're out of their element. Like someone resist arrest a little bit and it's like panic mode. And I'm like, man, dude, like if that person had like a purple belt in jujitsu, it would just like they would have like no chance.
Yeah, and it's safer for everybody. Let's be real. I mean, if you've wrestled in jiu-jitsu before, when you're controlling somebody, it's ease. And you're
Mhm,
not, the worst thing you're doing to them, unless if you do like a decent submission, but you're just tiring them out.
mhm.
They're so gassed and so
Yeah.
tired. I've never, I lift weights routinely, I work out routinely, and I have never been more gassed until I'm doing a roll session in jiu-jitsu. And
Yep.
you're drenched in sweat and you're like, oh, this is amazing. You know what I mean? And you're not really doing much.
Yeah.
You don't think you are, but you are. You're exerting all your muscles and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
excuse me. But I really feel law enforcement needs to evolve with the times, and not so. A lot of people are afraid of change because, excuse me, people don't want the pussification of law enforcement. Okay, and that's what we are afraid of, because I still want to be able to enforce the law. I still want to be able to go out and take people to jail. I would make, when I first started, I was making, my goal was to take 3 people to jail a night, right? But I had certain things I would not take people to jail for.
Mm.
I'm not arresting for weed,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, unless it's a felony amount, or if you're a dick. Let me rephrase that, because there's a lot of time people can talk themselves out of going to jail. You know, the couple of times where I've arrested on misdemeanor amounts of marijuana, it's usually because the guy was like a dick, and I'm like, all right, dude, I'll just take this. I'm gonna put it in for destruction. That's that. You're not gonna catch a charge, ticket, or anything like that, but I'm gonna take it. And it was like, why you taking my fucking weed? Excuse me, bitch. Learn when you're, you know what I mean? Like, I'd have been like, oh, great.
I know that's what I would have been like too. I would have been like, okay, yeah, good, good.
Hey,
So,
I can get another nickel bag somewhere else. I don't care. You know what I mean? So unless it's a felony amount, I won't arrest on that. We do have discretion in law enforcement,
yeah,
except for when it comes to domestic violence.
right.
You have to take to jail for that, and mostly felonies. But I was I still am, but as I get older, I'm like, and like I said, I've been in 3 shootings in the agency. People have labeled me a shit magnet. Most recent shooting I was in was 3 weeks ago. I didn't shoot, but yeah, I didn't shoot, but my sergeant did. We were at came in as an alarm call, and I'm reading the call, and it was 2 o'clock in the morning. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to the district and heat up my food, you know what I mean, before calls start picking up, because we'll have like certain gaps. And I saw an alarm call come out. I was like, oh, I'll just knock this out real quick. So I'm on my way there, and as I'm going, I'm reading the call updates. I'm driving, and then it says female thinks her husband's been shot. I was like, oh.
Oh,
So I look up the call again, and in the call it says that I start looking up the call history, because you can look up that address and look
yeah,
up the call history to see if is there any crazy, if she's crazy, you know what I
yeah.
mean? So I was like, this bitch must be crazy. I don't know what she's talking about. I'm really, and there was no other calls there. So I was like, okay. So I'm first on scene. Um, this actually kind of plays mirror to the first shooting I was in. I'll go over that in a second. But I'm walking up. I parked in a dark area because we're very good on camouflage in the dark. So that was a black joke.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
I got it.
so um, we come up, and I'm walking up, and then my partner's coming. I can hear his car coming. So we stack up, and we're walking up, and then there's bullet holes all in the front of the house. I'm like, oh shit, this shit is real. This is real. So we ask for emergency traffic, and then clear the whole house. So while we were there trying to get a description, because she had it on her ring camera, this car is coming down a dead end road at like 140 miles an hour. And I can hear the car. I look over and to my partner, and I was like, is that us? Because we were having aviation and other cars come in. And he's like, I don't think so. And then you hear screech, and then a pop. And then the car starts driving by. I grab my gun. He grabs his gun. He starts running. And then this is where experience comes in a little bit. I stop at the driveway, because I was thinking, hey, my sergeant was just walking down the road and I don't know where he's at. And then I didn't know, okay, was it a pop tire, or was it an actual shooting?
Right.
Right. So I had to gauge all that. I see my sergeant's like, hey, did you shoot? He's dazed. He's like, yes. I said, okay. I radioed over the radio. Then I realized, oh shit, my partner's running down the street by himself. And I hear him scream, get on the fucking ground. There's 3 people spread out. So it turns out they were friends of the victim. When he got shot at, he had called them and said, hey, I just got shot at. They were coming there to help him. I don't know what the hell they were
The
doing.
cops were friends of the victim?
No, the bad guys. I mean, not
Bad
bad.
guy.
The car that
Well,
was coming by.
yeah. They were friends of
So
the. Okay.
yeah,
So
so
they
it's
were
insane.
coming to back them up because they called the cops and called their friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the problem is, so this is where experience comes in, because I had my gun up and I'm pointing it at the car, and I'm like, wait a minute, the windows are up, so they're not shooting at us. So all this has to go this split second.
Yeah.
I had the video, but it's not clear for dissemination yet. But like, it's a split second they come by, so you have to make a decision to shoot or not shoot. So it's like, you my first shooting, I was on the road for 2 years. We responded to a call where a lady said her husband was shooting off his gun in the garage, right? And I was like, bullshit. But as you're driving there, there's
Before you say that, like, is the reason why you have that responsible to that? Do you a lot of times get like bullshit calls where people call
yes,
you?
yes, yes,
Like what
because
percentage? What percentage are like bullshit? Like when you hear stuff like that?
well, not much are shooting calls, because people like to over dramatize things.
Yeah.
So somebody could have just accidentally popped off around in their garage, cleaning. And there's a lot of negligent discharges. Or we'll get a call, hey, this is right when I started on the road. My sergeant at the time, he's retired now, but he was so cool. This lady calls and says, "Hey, I have a black male walking down the street with a large bag on his back." And the sergeant's like, to dispatch, "Can you ask her why is it suspicious?" She's like, "Well, he's suspicious." And then the sergeant goes over the radio. He's like, "Well, that's just racist. We're not going to." He's like, "No, we ain't going to that. Sorry, we can't. Sorry, we're not going to go to that. You know."
That's
So
funny.
yeah, he's like, "No, we're not." And we'll have calls like that where um, somebody will say they're suspicious, but
Do you get calls that are like, because I remember when I was younger, I had a friend who was a detective, and he said he would get calls like old people will call because they're lost,
yeah,
or different things like that. Where it's not like you need to actually even be prepared to shoot or anything like that. It's just like kind of like a person just calling for a random distress.
yeah, that's the majority of our calls.
The majority of them.
Majority of our calls is like landlord tenant disputes, or this one of the most recent ridiculous one. I just laughed is that this lady caught her husband cheating on her, and she wanted him removed from the house, right? And it's this Haitian dude, and he's like, "Oh, I know, I know, cheat, I know, cheat." Like, I said, "Listen, bro, I don't care." At the end of the day, and I had to explain to her, "Ma'am, I cannot remove him from the house." She's like, "Oh, I don't want him here." I said, "Well, you guys are married, so
Mm,
I don't know what
yeah.
to tell you." But jumping back on the shooting real
Yeah.
quick, so I ended up going there.
You're going back to the second shooting, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, Justin. Sorry, I
So
just wanted to.
no, it's cool. So I'm going to the shooting. I'm driving, and I was pretty close. And then there's when you start noticing this is a real call is when you'll have other addresses calling in on
Mm,
shots fired. So you'll have a block wave calling shots fired. So you're starting to say, okay, this is might be real. So I parked 3 doors down, and then I could hear shots going off. So ever since Columbine, we don't wait to go into an active shooter situation. The female stated she was barricaded in her bedroom, and he was trying to get in. Dispatcher is confirming what she's hearing in the background. So it's an active shooter situation. We don't wait for backup. We don't wait to secure the perimeter or anything like that. So um, I remember I'm walking up, and then I'm loading up my shotgun as I'm going there, right? And my partner, I could hear him coming. He's actually in SWAT now, but he's like, "I'm almost there. I'm almost there." And then he like skirts, no, doesn't care about being quiet, just like parked right in front of the house. White boy was ready to go. Gets his gun. I was like, "Stack up." We stack up. And then I was so hyped. I was like, "Oh, this shit's real. This is real. This is my first real incident. This is a year, almost 2 years in. I'm excited." You know, fear was not there yet.
mm.
Um, and I hear a pop, pop, pop. He's still shooting. So I was like, "Oh, fuck it. Let's kick this door in." The hinge is on the outside. I wasn't paying attention to that. The hinge is on the outside. I could kick on that damn thing all day. I ain't going nowhere. So
Yeah.
I'm kicking one, kicking two, and then my partner saved my life. He pushed me. He's like, "Get out of it." He pushed me, and he goes behind a pillar. As soon as I hit the wall, which was the garage door, the garage, guy starts shooting through the door. I've never felt so skinny in my life. I was like, "Oh shit." And I feel actually I was awarded for that shooting. I was awarded the Combat Cross, one of the highest awards that we have at our agency,
Nice.
besides the Purple Cross that we have, where you've been shot in line of duty. But I've never been so scared. I almost shit myself. If anybody tells you that they've never been scared in a shooting, they're lying. But then I was worried about him because he's behind this little pillar and he's like this. And so I just stepped in front of the door and just started unloading with a shotgun. And we both backed out and surrounded the house. We took refuge behind his car, which I think, everything happens for a reason. We were able to fall back to his car, but then there was a light like illuminating our position. So I grabbed my flashlight, broke the light, we ended up surrounding the house. Everybody got there. And then the guy was shot 3 times. He survived. We were able to save the female. But I remember, I mask a lot of things with humor because I could find humor in anything. So I remember we were clearing the house, we're in there, and I was at the time I was bigger than I was like 260 pounds, about 260. I'm at 205 right now, but I'm sweating. I'm like sweating going up in there, and then I remember one of the deputies. She hands me one of the a wash towel that was in in the bathroom or something. And I was like, oh shit, thank you. I'm sweating my ass off. You know what I mean? It's hot in here. She's like, no, that's for him. He's bleeding out. And I was like, oh, for him? Oh, fuck that guy. He just shot at me. I threw it at him and walked out. I was so pissed. But we still have to render aid.
Mhm.
Uh, about rendering aid, I'm going to touch quick on George Floyd.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's I am the person who will say, okay, there is a perfect storm for everything. You need a dual. You need not a duality, but you do need a yin and yang. You need everything to fall into place for tragedy. Okay, one, you need George Floyd in the altered state that he was, and we've all, well, not all, but we've dealt with people in altered states and
Mhm.
stuff like that. Even in the body cam footage, he's saying, "Put me on the ground, put me on the ground," right?
Yeah.
Which is fine. Okay. The problem I have with Victor Shulkin, I believe that's his name, the officer that had his knee on his neck, um, was arrogance.
Mm.
Now, and I could see this because I've seen it either in myself, which you have to overcome, and you have to be humble, and I've seen it in other officers. Okay. And the arrogant part is not wanting to be wrong.
Mm. Mhm.
So the thing
Mhm.
is, at the end of the day, we still have to render aid. Okay. Once you put the cuffs on him, he is your responsibility. All right. If you mace somebody, you got to wash their face off with water. If you beat their ass, you're going to have to take them to the hospital and then inquire more paperwork.
Mhm.
Okay. Less paperwork is the key here. Um, a death in custody, the paperwork is ridiculous. But um, when he had his knee on him and everybody's like, take your knee off of him, man, take your knee off of him, man. He did not want to be wrong.
Mhm. No.
He did,
Yeah.
yeah, he didn't want to just be like, take his knee off and then roll him into the recovery position. Because actually, one of the other officers that also got charged with murder for some reason said, shouldn't we put him in the recovery position?
Mm.
A recovery position is you on your side. Like some people sleep like this; they'll have one leg up, and so it gets the weight off your stomach, and you're just lying on your side, so you still can breathe. Your chest can still rise. So that's the
Yeah.
recovery. They didn't even do that. At the end of the day, you're still supposed to render aid. Now, I've done the same technique he has done.
Yeah.
Okay, with the knee on the back, not necessarily on the neck, but on the like right on the back of the collar.
Right.
But that's only for handcuffing. Once you handcuff, boom, handcuff done. You have to roll them on their butt so they can breathe.
Yeah.
This is normal. Now, it's did the amount of fentanyl play a role in his death? Yes. Did him having his knee on his stomach and him laying on the ground play a role in his death? Absolutely. Okay. It is for certain law enforcement to say that, and this is where you go into the like, I'm a cop, but I'm not like, yeah, they were totally right. No, no, you still should be able to look through things and
I let me ask you this, because these are the things. So like there on the George, these are the things that I thought about the George Floyd. One, I did not like how people were bringing up that he was a criminal in the past, because that is, to me, totally irrelevant.
Now
Because
that's where I had a fall. Well, I don't want to say falling out, but this is one of my biggest disagreements with Candace Owens.
yeah, yeah,
She and I like her. I do. I think she serves an important role, but I see her more as conservative ink. You
mm-hmm,
know,
mm-hmm.
that's her grift. Then shit, make that money. Okay, what
You-
it is.
I'll tell you this. The reason why I thinking about Candace Owens is because I followed her from like before she got known. I was actually following her before she got known, and I noticed how she went from being like left, like down the party line to right down the party line. I'm like, how is that possible? Like you're just gonna go like complete like you.
Usually you'll come in the middle.
Yeah.
Like
She had zero time in the middle. It was just like boom and then boom. And I was like, how's that possible?
Exactly. So that's where this sense. I remember I commented on one of your videos where Joe Rogan had her on. She was talking about climate change.
Yeah.
And I said, whether I agree or not, I do like how Joe goes at somebody. You should be able to defend your position rather than just saying, oh, because I think it's not real. Well, how?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you give me like, okay, well, maybe you can say, well, we've had 4 ice ages and, it's a cyclical thing and things go through certain ages. Could we be contributing more to it? Maybe. The jury's still out on that. Like, just say something like that to
Yeah.
where you don't seem like an idiot. Just saying, fuck it.
Yeah.
That's what it is. But going back to your question, I'm trying to remember it.
So
But
it was basically how people were bringing up his past on, oh, he was a criminal or whatever he did. I was like, that doesn't overturn due process.
only time that ever overturns it for me, where I'll be like, fuck it, is a sex offender. But
I can feel you on that one.
yeah, but exactly like I said, once you put the handcuffs on, they're in your care. It doesn't negate the fact that they should die. I don't necessarily think he should have died.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he should have died at all. There's no necessarily about it. If their policies and their training was proper, and you put your arrogance aside, and
Yeah.
you need someone there, you need a police officer, and I've done it to my partners before, where I'm like, tap them on the shoulder, hey, good, I got it. I got it. I had one, actually, the shooting that I described where the car came by. We had everybody in handcuffs, and the same partner that was running down the street, and he was hyped, And then the dude was like, "Yeah, y'all gonna beat my motherfucking ass because I'm black, da 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 da, and all this stuff," And I was like,
Yeah.
"I got you." I took him, and then because my partner grabbed him first, and he was like, "Yeah, shut the fuck up," da da da. I was like, "Bro, I got it. Don't worry about it. I got it." You know what I mean? And he's still hyped because the adrenaline is pumping.
Yeah.
And he's only been on the road for 6 months, 6-7 months. So he's still like, oh, like this is so exciting, rah! And I'm like, okay, well, we got to figure out what's going on, and also I'm trying to calm everybody down. So I'm talking to the guy that he was drunk, and I'm talking. He's like, my boy just got shot. He's like, well, he's okay. He's right there. He's fine. He got shot, but he's not bleeding that much. He's gonna be fine. But I'm gonna put you in my car for a minute, and I'm gonna need you to calm down. That's it. And I still like I don't like yelling at people anymore. I guess that's with age, and I'm like, I'll say, hey, what's your name? Because it becomes more personal. So I'm not saying like, hey, you, or hey, what's your name? And I talk very low. Also because I mumble, but I talk very low when I'm interacting with people because it forces them to talk low because they can't hear me. So I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Like, speaking of that, like, how, if you were to grade, generally speaking, how cops are at de-escalation, I guess you could answer, like, how do you feel that cops do generally at de-escalation? And then I guess you can give like an estimation on how well they do in the situations that we see on the media. So I don't know if the media is portraying us or like, or with, as far
I
as,
don't like saying cops in general because there's over 10,000 different policing agencies in the United States. Okay, thousands of cops. So I tend to see more senior cops handle situations better, except for Victor Shulkin because he was a senior, But then that is the arrogance thing that you have to check. I try my day to be as humble as possible. I'm not better than anyone, and I keep it that way because you except pedophiles. I'm better than pedophiles,
Yeah.
but you have to keep that because you don't want to be that arrogant, like, yo, shut the fuck up. I know I'm smarter than you. I've literally seen a deputy say that to somebody, and I'm like, yo, bro, calm down. It's not that serious.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, this is not something for me to get angry about. This is not something, I'm going to have another call I'm going to go to. And you have to be able to calm down and say, all right, well, the next call I'm going to go to is going to be a barking dog call. I have to be polite to that person,
Mhm.
you know? So yeah, I could just be fist fighting with somebody and then I got to calm down and go to the next call. Not
Mhm.
everybody could do that.
Yeah.
So the media is going to sensationalization thing. I don't think I sound that right.
Yes. Sensationalism.
So yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Sensationalize, and because it brings ratings.
Yeah.
That's all it's about. And they hope black people go riot so they could have more ratings of them burning shit.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
yeah.
so every department has their own way. Like, okay, like let's look at NYPD. I think NYPD is too big.
Mm.
It's the largest law enforcement agency and one of the oldest law enforcement agencies in the United States. Um, it's one of the first, actually. But there's been incidences where, you know, there's a shooting and all the bystanders get shot. You know, um, my third shooting I'm gonna go over real quick,
Yeah.
and actually I got suspended for that shooting. I got suspended for 3 days for that, and the incident was I was chasing a vehicle into another county. It was still a stolen boat. That county assisted on that chase. The guy hit my car and he's hitting my car. I'm still on the car. And I had a decision to shoot into the car. I chose not to. Only reason being is that I could not see my target.
Right.
So, yes, I was afraid of if I don't hit him, is there someone else in the car that I can't hit? A
Mm.
child or something like that. So I still needed to stop the threat. So I shot his tires out,
Mm.
his front tire. Nine rounds, six hit his tires. Um, he kept going, ended the pursuit about a mile down the road. Okay. Everybody's okay, everybody's safe. So I was suspended for shooting at his tires.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Huh.
So some of my commanding officers were like, well, you're good at shooting, but why didn't you shoot for him? I said, I didn't know, I couldn't identify my target. And with me, I'm going to choose life over death.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's
So even though that no one was hurt, the $20,000 boat was recovered. Um, the tire was fucked.
yeah.
But yeah, I was suspended for that. I suspended 3 days for that.
Huh.
And, you know, I remember that. I said, well, would you do anything different? I said, absolutely not. I would always
Right.
choose life over death.
No. Yeah.
So there's certain decisions that you gotta, man up and take it. And I was pissed at the time because I kind of got suspended on my birthday. But then I was like, you know what? Fuck that. We're going to Busch Gardens. So me and my wife went to Busch Gardens.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, but there's certain decisions that you have to make in law enforcement that it's split second. You know, if I would have shot him or shot somebody else in the car, technically per the law, I'll be good because it's in the state of Florida, we have transferred intent.
Mm.
So it would fall onto the driver. But if I shot a kid, I mean, I
Yeah.
can't, that's
Yeah.
going to be in my conscience.
Yeah.
So I think on general law enforcement is pretty good at de-escalation because you got to think about how many law enforcement contacts there are.
Yeah.
There are millions. Like throughout the year, just pulling somebody over. You know what I mean? Like, people are talking about they're afraid, black people are talking about they're being afraid of being shot by the cops in a traffic stop. I'm like, how many times you guys get pulled over? A lot. Like I get pulled over once in a blue moon, but I'm always up here. I don't tell them I'm law enforcement. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They don't know. And all I am I'm not necessarily kissing their ass or anything. I'm
Yeah.
just like, all right, here's my stuff. Here, you have your weapon on you? Yep, I do. Okay, and it goes on like that. Um, the problem is, it is very stressful in law enforcement. You have to be able to detach. The biggest thing is not having too many friends that are in law enforcement,
Mm.
um, because you don't want to be talking about law enforcement shit every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, did you hear this big bust that Burkhart got last night? No, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I don't care. Another big thing too in law enforcement is suicides. And I'm specifically touching on this for a reason. Um,
Like cop suiciding or really? Huh.
so about 2 weeks ago, one of my partners, a friend of mine, um, she's been going through some stuff, and I've been helping her, um, trying to get through that stuff. She attempted suicide, um, wasn't successful. So she attempted suicide, and I said, "Hey, listen, um, I'll call her Maria. I said, hey, Maria, call me. Why didn't you call me? I'm here for you. You know what I mean? I know you're going through some personal stuff, but call me. I'm here." Uh, she tried to shoot herself in the head. She couldn't do it. Um, she tried to shoot herself in the chest. She couldn't do it. Uh, so she ended up getting taken in and Baker acted. The agency put her on administrative leave, took their firearm, which it's understandable.
Right.
Which the agency actually said they were going to stand behind her 100%. She's obviously not going to be back into a law enforcement role for a while,
Right.
but we've had that instance before in the agency. You see a lot of stuff. I've given CPR to a 7-year-old. I've saved people's life. And you see this stuff and you have to deal with it and you have to be able to handle it. So about a week ago, not this Saturday that just passed, but the previous Saturday, I'm at my desk. I'm about to eat my lunch, and then phone rings. I missed it, and I call her, and I hear her crying on the phone, and she's like, "I'm gonna kill myself." And I said, "No, don't do that. Uh, let's talk this out." And she's like, "No, I'm gonna do it." And I can hear her like she's running, and I hear sirens in the background, you know. And I said, "Where are you?" So while I'm talking to her, I'm calling our watch commander. So the watch commander, this is at night. So the highest rank is going to be a captain in charge of the entire county. And we have two captains in charge of the county, one's north, one's south. So I called them. I was like, "Yo, it's Maria again.
Mm.
Um, I don't know where she is. I need to I know you got. Did you hear what happened?" And he's like, "Yeah, I just got word from the neighboring agency because it's their jurisdiction. Um, and they tried to cancel us for some reason. They're like, 'Oh no, we're good, we got it.' And the captain's like, 'No, she's one of ours, and
Mm.
you're in this county, so no, we're the county.'"
Yeah.
So she's running she's running, and she's like, "I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna kill myself. I can't do this anymore." She's had a lot of personal issues that extend other than law enforcement, over the last 8 years, and she's hung up the phone on me. And then the sergeant that I know, he had called her, and then I'm listening to their radio channel, and then he's talking on the phone, and then she shot herself in the chest. And oddly enough, I don't wear my religion on my sleeve or anything like that. But the previous night, I had talked to her for like 2 hours, and I got home and I prayed for her. I never pray. You
Mm.
know, usually I'm praying like, please let me get this promotion.
Yeah.
That's it's usually asking for something. It's never really for someone else.
Mm.
Pray for her, and it missed her heart by like centimeter. Um, Bounced all over the place, and she's in the hospital. But that goes on to just law enforcement suicide actually kills us more than anything else, and it's
Damn.
just suicide in general. People is, and she was mad at the agency that she was in, that where she lived in, because they had pointed guns at her the first time. And I was like, what do you expect? I was like, listen, clearly I could see that she's not in the right state of mind. I said, they don't know you. They don't know you like I know you. There've been plenty of suicide calls we've been in together, and I got my AR, you got your AR, and we were ready
Yeah.
to go. She's like, no, that's fucked up. We're cops. They should have known better. And I was like, you're not in the right state of mind. You can't, So her career is done. Um, they can't really give her a shot. She shot
Right.
herself,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm gonna be there for her. And I went to visit her. I'm actually gonna see if I can visit her tomorrow. She's got a long road to recovery, but the agency is very, I give them props because they're I don't think they're going to withdraw her appointment until after she's done with her medical stuff. Because right now she's on admin leave, so she's still getting paid and
Okay.
she still has full benefits.
Yeah.
So I think they're gonna hold that until she's done with all her medical, and then she'll be good. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that goes in just day to day. Like I said, I was in a shooting 3 weeks ago, and then on top of now, one of my friends, I've known for a while now, attempted suicide, and then you still have to get ready to go to work.
Yeah.
And
And she, what was the thing that was stressing her out the most, or was it just the aggregate situations that you experience as a cop, or is there something that like
no,
really
it was personal.
all personal combined
Yeah,
with it?
yeah. I think it was just personal, and this is where you have to, not just like with law enforcement, you got to like watch your friends.
Mm.
You have to pay attention to when they're, because there was a time where would come for roll call, and I'll pull up next to her, and I'm like, yo, what's up? And she's just not. I was like, you good? You know, and she had gotten a divorce from her wife, um, and her new girlfriend was cheating on her. So, but there's, other than that, there's more stuff that will make you sick to your stomach that has happened to her in her life,
Right.
that I just recently found out. So dealing with all that, you still just, other than just the law enforcement stuff, you have to pay attention to your friends. You check on them. I have a thing that I do. Like every time like somebody goes through my mind, or like I'm just thinking about somebody, I text them, hey, what's up? How you doing? I was just
Mm.
thinking about you.
That's a good habit.
Because you never know what's going to happen. So
Mm.
oddly enough, a week after her first attempt, I was driving to, I put my uniforms in Taylor, so I was taking my patrol car because I didn't want to use my gas.
Mm.
But I was thinking about her again. I'm thinking about her, and I look over, and she's driving right next to me. This is one of the, I was like, damn, do we live in a simulation, or what the hell's going on? So, and she looks at me, and I was like, call me. And then we were talking again, you know what I mean? Because I was trying to give her some time. And I said, don't think that I wasn't thinking about you. I hadn't called you. I was trying to give you some time, you know. But again, that is just thinking about your friends, texting them, you know, checking on their mental health. One of the biggest things just dealing in the public that I'm noticing more of is mental health issues
Mm-hmm.
with the public. Ever since Ronald Reagan closed the mental health facilities, it it had it falls on the general public. I mean, the law enforcement to handle it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then a lot of conservatives will be like, "Oh, Ronald Reagan was the greatest." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Ugh. So
You know,
Ryan,
did you see my most latest post about acting white, talking white, and
no.
oh yeah, you gotta see that. So basically, because it's related to this, because I said, men in the black community, what's something that was handed down to you from the black community that you had to unlearn? And everybody like responded, they did all these stitches, and I collected all of them, and I created like, and I'm gonna be releasing a series of videos where I put it together and tell the story of like all like stuff like toxic ideas, kind of like in the black community.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, talking white.
yeah,
I mean the Oreo thing.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. And
also,
being educated, like or speaking
yeah,
articulate, like that was the one that I did just now. And the next one I'm gonna do one on uh being hard, that you can't have emotions. Um and then also with that, the mental health thing, because a lot of people responded with that like you got to stay hard, can't
yeah.
let no one disrespect you, you got to like someone, and then you
Well,
can't cry, you can't
yeah.
show emotions, and you can't have any type of mental health issues, can't be open about that, that's too vulnerable, that type of thing.
Oh well, yeah, and also too that falls into the relationship aspects too. Like me and my wife, we have 6 months evaluations on each other.
6 months, what was that? I can hear you.
Evaluations.
Oh, where you
Um,
come together and
yeah,
oh, that's great, that's great.
yeah. What can we do to improve it? Usually her stuff is like pick your shit up. I'm like, it's like she's like, yeah, just pick your shit up. And she's like, we talked about this last time. I was like, oh, I forgot. Obviously mine is always physical. So,
Yeah. No,
but
it's funny because me and my girlfriend, we're not married yet, but we plan on doing it soon. Um, we have weekly marriage meetings,
yeah,
even though we're not married. Like we just have those, and like, because ours is like, because yours is a full evaluation. What we do is we do 4 stages, and I just share this with you because you brought. So the first thing is what you appreciated about what they did last week. Second is um uh I think it's like plans to have fun. Like so the like plan for the week to come, to plans to have fun, both by yourself and with each other. So like, this is what I'm gonna do. I need alone time to do this myself. And this is, we're gonna have date night. Friday night we'll go here. And then third is like chores and responsibilities for the next week. Make sure that we got that plan, or any ones that didn't get done, just update on that. And then the fourth one is challenges, like basically challenges and problems and stuff like that. And
yeah, we do something like that, but it's we don't set it like she'll text me randomly or she'll tell me, I appreciate you. You're a great father, you do these things, and and I in turn. When it comes to I have projects. So like I set deadlines for myself. In our relationship. I remember when we got married, we were renting a house, and I said, "This is the last house we're going to rent." And
mhm.
after a year, we built our own house, and now this is the house we're in now. But I have like, my dad has taught me, and this is too back on to my father is the big influence on me on being a man, and
Mm.
not like toxic masculinity, but providing certain things a man has to do. And Jordan Peterson talks about this a
Mm.
lot, making your bed when you wake up, taking care of your house. My wife can come to me and tell me a problem. Like about a month ago, she said, hey, the dryer's not spinning. I said, okay. Took it apart, didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Took it apart, went on YouTube, and it was fixed.
Yeah, you can figure out a lot of stuff on
Yeah,
YouTube, man.
and I refuse to pay somebody for something that I could do myself.
Yeah,
And it gives you that self accomplishment. And Jordan
yeah,
Peterson talks about that a lot. And a lot of younger men are missing out on accomplishments. And being men and just I really like Jordan Peterson, but like it 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 goes on to like with our relationship. You know, one of our biggest things is we're not getting a divorce unless there's infidelity.
Hmm.
Everything else can be worked out, you know. And we're strict on our children. They have bedtimes. They have certain chores and things they have to do. They have to keep their room a certain way. But then with that, they get a lot of privileges, you know. But
Yeah.
that's with raising a family and going back to what I had to unlearn was to be humble, to know when I'm wrong, because I'm arrogant as a Scorpio. My wife says so. We're both
Ah,
Scorpios.
Scorpio.
So we're both Scorpios.
Oh, really?
So we're like,
That's
so
funny.
one of us has to submit. It's typically me. I usually submit first. But I had anger issues too when I was 14. I had to learn to just let shit go. And that
Mhm.
helped me a lot in my job where people are just running their mouth, man, fuck 12, fuck you, you know.
Mm.
Um, and a lot of the things that I always throw somebody at, somebody I'll come up to it and they're like, man, fuck you. And I was like, you promise? And they're like, what the fuck?
That's a good response. That's a good response.
Especially to a dude. They're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I
And
know.
I was like, hey, listen, man, you ain't take me out to dinner yet. You trying to fuck? All right, listen, bro.
That's a good response.
but but it throws them off,
Yeah,
you
no,
know.
that's
And
what I
then
like.
it just like, hey, man, let me talk to you. But
Did
yeah,
did you see the post that I had with the one cop that testified in a Portland cop about when he was at a Black Lives Matter protest and he was trying to talk to
oh, I've
another.
seen that one. I saw that actually on YouTube.
Oh, good, good,
And
good.
then he was trying to explain to this lady, and she was like, this white liberal just stepped in,
Yeah,
and
it's just
and you know, stepping on white liberals. There is a superiority complex and a savior complex that is, I, it just doesn't show respect. You know,
mm,
I don't know if I think it was Harvard that did the study. I'd have to find it, but it says when you look at liberals or Democrats, let's say, when they speak to a large group of blacks or minorities, they tend to dumb down their speech. You
mm,
know, Hillary Clinton with that southern draw,
mm.
hot sauce
Hot
man,
sauce, dude. I hated dude. I was so
or
mad when I heard the hot sauce. I
or
was like,
AOC doing that. Oh, we come again, we deliver, you know. But when the same study looked at conservatives, they just talk to you like normal,
mm-hmm,
you know. And but in that same article, they always had that caveat. They talk to them normal, but doesn't mean that they respect them on a certain level. That's just you editorializing your own opinion in there. I don't really care about that, you know.
yeah.
Um, but um, one other thing that I learned, um, my wife calls it code switching.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, well, it is called code switching, but my wife is very like, she is more black centric than I am. Like she has a shirt, black girl magic, you know. Um, but she grew up in a school in Georgia where she was one of two black girls,
Oh, wow.
you know. So like, and she has really, because I grew up in a very mixed school, you know what I mean? Like I said, I've had a bunch of white girlfriends and Cuban girlfriends and stuff like that. Cubans are crazy,
Yeah.
but y- y- she showed me certain things where, you know, like her growing up, she as a black girl didn't feel beautiful, you know.
Mm.
She's way out of my league, so I, you know, maybe the ugly duckling syndrome helped me out, but like way out of my league. But she has emphasized on, you know, us telling our girls, and we talk to them, hey, you're beautiful. And but I do it as like, I'm not focusing on their skin color. It's just affirmation of, hey, you're
Mhm.
smart first, beautiful, and you know, with my oldest, you're a badass. You know, because she's a, well, she was going to be a brown belt, but she got in trouble, so we're not promoting her.
Mm.
It's for minor stuff, but it's just the principle of the matter.
Yeah.
But she's a purple belt now.
In karate?
Like, yeah.
Nice.
I wanted to do jujitsu, but she doesn't like hurting people. She's like, I don't want to hurt somebody. It's like, what do you think I'm bringing you in this for? you know. But so okay. So another thing too, just being a father, in the Black community. Granted, I had my father there that helped me through this. But my oldest daughter, she's not mine. I've raised her since she's 2 months, but she's my daughter. Um, and when I was finally, I was 26. Yeah, I was 26 when me and my wife met, and she was 24, and I was like, I never really dated Black girls before, and I was on online dating, and I thought she looked amazing. I hit her up, and um, we started talking, and then we hit it off. 3-hour conversations about Lord of the Rings,
Oh, nice.
Harry Potter, and then she's like, "Hey, you got to read this book." And then we started reading the Dark Tower series together. And
Dark what?
Dark Towers,
What is that one? Dark Towers. That sounds good.
yeah, they made a bad movie about it with Liam Neeson.
Huh.
It's a
Yeah.
Stephen King's book.
Huh. Is that the with
The
Donald
first
Trump?
one, no, no, no. It's called The Dark Towers. The first book is The Gunslinger.
Gunslinger. Oh, okay, okay. Stephen
Yeah,
King.
yeah. That book is trippy. Uh, book 4 or 5. This is when Stephen King got into a car accident and hurt his back, and he developed a pain addiction. You kind of could tell in the reading of it, but it's a good book. So that actually we started on that, and I was like, wow, it's fucking geeky. I love this,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like. And then she starts talking. We start talking about anime, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I watched Cowboy Bebop." I'm like, "Cowboy Bebop," and
Oh,
yeah, like she.
babe, babe. I'm just telling you this. He and his wife like Cowboy Bebop. Yeah, that's like one of her favorites.
Yeah, so
That's
she
like, is that
loves
your
Cowboy.
favorite or is it what, top three? Top three. Top three for her.
Yeah. So, and then I started, as our relationship grew, like I swear I feel like I married a 60-year-old woman because she crochets. She can make blankets, shirts, everything, and she loves British dramas. And your relationship, it grows, and we as people change, but that's when it comes to the evaluation part of things where you have to grow together. If you don't grow together, it's not gonna work. Um, what else? I think that's about it. Like I
Yeah,
haven't
I
really.
wanted I wanted to ask you this because you made me think because I didn't know that you were a Jordan Peterson like kind of fan as well. I have these little Jordan Peterson meetups that I do once a month.
Mhm. Okay.
Typically they're in person, but because of COVID, we've been doing them online. Let me see because I just got a thing talking about the next one. The next one is this not this coming Saturday, and I think I want to like introduce you to everybody if you'd be down to come because you have Saturdays off, right?
Now my schedule rotates.
Okay.
So like this Saturday I had a 3-day weekend. So I had Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So then I'll work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Bless you.
Thank you.
Um, I'll work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then I'll have Wednesday, Thursday off. Then I'll work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I'll
Mm.
have Monday, Tuesday. So it rotates,
Hmm.
and in between those, I'll pick up because cops where we really make our money is off-duty details,
Mm.
off-duty work. Where like the other night I was doing an off-duty work um, for 12 hours at $45 an hour,
How,
540.
what's that? What's an example of off-duty detail when you?
Well, like so, let's say you have a wedding, right? And you want armed law enforcement there. You contact the sheriff's office or the local police department. Hey, I'd like to hire a deputy or officer here to work for me. Okay, well, our rate is this, how many hours? So you just pay them. let's say for a wedding you wanted to do for 4 hours, and our 4 hour rate's about $35 an hour. So you'll pay him, that's what, $175. Boom, and then the cop will just sit there in his car or just
Huh.
hang out, and that's it.
Nice. Oh,
So
okay.
like I like doing them because there's no paperwork. Um, a lot of the younger cops don't like doing them because they're like, well, we shouldn't have to do that to make money, and um, they're lazy. Just saying it right now, they're lazy. Um, but I like fat checks.
Yeah.
Okay. I like to be able to. I want to, like, 1 year when my daughter was 5 or 6, we went to Disney World. Um, I like going on a vacation. I say 5 grand. We spent 5 grand on Disney, and whatever she wants, she got. I don't like to worry about money if
Yeah.
I'm on vacation, so I will work the entire year to save that and then do that. So I like that. A lot of younger guys don't because they're lazy and shit. And these are the same people that will dodge paper calls, which they don't like taking reports. It's a part of the job. I
Yeah.
don't. I just hate people that complain a lot, and cops are complainers.
Yeah.
You know, so you'll now we'll just get the cops that want to be in narcs, or like, I want to be on SWAT, or I want to be in the
Yeah.
special team unit. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's okay, it's great, I guess. You know, it's the title. I don't care about that.
Do
But
you
yeah,
think, do you, because you made me think of that. Do you think, did you heard about the shooting in Mesa, Arizona, right? The one crazy one with, I think it was Daniel Shaver with the guy in the hotel room where he's like,
you
'cause-
talking about in Vegas?
no, 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 in Mesa, Arizona. Like, so basically it was almost
Oh,
identical to another, yeah, Daniel Shaver. Because in the one video, it talks about like how, because he's a white guy and they didn't really spread report on him being shot unarmed,
mm-hmm.
and but his story was like very similar to a lot of those.
Okay, is this in the hotel room when he was on his knees?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
So
Would
me
you
and
say
my
that guy?
me,
What's your thing on that?
so me and my it's actually my wife's friend, but we become to be friends. He's a teacher in Thailand now. Um, but we've had this discussion about the shooting. He showed me the video, and he's very like Afrocentric. You know what I mean? Like, but he's really light skinned. I always see a lot of the light skinned brothers are always like, yeah, you know, they have to be extra black. But um, I saw the shooting, and it was poor training, poor optics. I don't really care about. A lot of people get wrapped up in the way that the officer was talking to him. You fucking move, I'll shoot you. You'll be fucking dead, and all this stuff. Yeah, it doesn't look good optics wise, but I've been on, let's say, a traumatic situation or a crash, and this lady is running her mouth. I'm like, shut the fuck up. And then it's just like, she's like, oh, okay, I got you here now. Listen to me. Um, I try not to do that too much, but
Yeah.
they, when it was bad training, what I would have done and what I've been trained is when they had him, because I think they had him face backwards, then they turned him around, and then they had him get on all fours,
Yeah.
and then he had to crawl to them.
That's the thing. I was like, dude, why are they playing a Simon Says game with
Yeah,
this
what
guy?
are you, now you
Like,
touch
hold
your
one
left
arm out,
toe.
crawl this way,
Yeah,
go. Like, I was like, what the fuck is this supposed to be?
all you do, okay, because the call came out that he had a gun. Okay, what you typically would do to clear, you got to clear the waistband. If you already see his hand, you clear the waistband. So all you do is tell him to grab the back of his shirt, pull his shirt all the way up. Okay, so you're gonna see the back of his
Mm,
waistband, and
yeah.
then have him pull it all the way up to where it's like almost over his head, right? And then turn all the way around. So boom, you clear the waistband, but there still might be stuff in his pockets. Then all you do is you have the lethal cover. It's a guy with a gun. Still tell him to face away from you. Have him interlace his fingers like this. All right. And you've done jujitsu. Okay. Once you grab the fingers, all
Yeah.
right, it's going to be harder for him to pull them out because they're interlaced like
Yeah.
this. So the minute I feel this, him trying to interlace, you disengage, push him, transition to lethal or less lethal. Okay. So then you're out of the way. The fact that they had him on his knees, crawling, and then he was a fat guy and he was self conscious because his shirt started to rise up.
Mm-hmm.
And then he did this and then tried to pull his shirt down. Okay. Yes, I can see it. Now I'm looking at from the, excuse me, the power of hindsight. All right. Now I'm also looking at it from a law enforcement standpoint. When somebody's pulling a gun, it's from their waistband, it's going to be like this. So in order for you to avoid that situation of an accident or someone pulling a gun, you just clear the waistband, interlace, grab his hands, and then you could search his pockets because you have his hands interlaced like this.
Yeah.
Boom, check his pockets. Pockets are clear, then cuff him up. Simple as that.
Yeah.
So it was poor training. I've had multiple calls where I've gone with subject with a gun. Subject has a gun, and then it's a kid in the park with an airsoft rifle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the
Yeah, the one kid at the park, right? What was
Timmy
the?
Rice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So they came on scene, boom, ready to shoot. And that is with training and experience to like, okay, if I'm rolling up, I'm already looking at the hands because that's the things that could kill you. You know that. And the waistbands. All right, if he has a gun, okay, it'll be very hard for me to shoot a kid. I'm gonna tell you this right now.
Yeah.
Um, I would do everything in my heart not to shoot a kid. I don't care what race they are, it's a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we've had calls of kids running around, and I'm just like, hey, kid, drop the gun, and they're like, oh, it's not real or whatever. It's very hard. So, but
Mm.
again, it's split second decisions that you have to make. Um, one of the worst shootings, and this is where I was upset with conservatives.
Keep talking. I can hear you. I'm just
Yeah,
refilling this while you talk.
yeah. So one of the worst shootings I ever saw, where it's upset me with conservatives, is um, Philando Castile.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
So that shooting, he's reaching for his concealed weapons permit, and the cop, you could hear it in his voice. He's terrified.
Yeah.
He's scared. You know what I mean? He's like, I told him not to reach.
Yeah.
And it is poor training. Again, poor training. I've had people tell me this is, I live in Florida, so everybody got a gun.
Yeah, yeah.
I've had somebody say, hey, I I have my concealed weapons permit, and they'll start reaching. So instead of putting my gun and popping them in the head with a round, I'll just put my hand on their shoulders. Okay, I'll get it. Don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll look it up. Don't reach for anything. I'll put my hand on their shoulder. It's cool. Put your hands on the steering wheel for me. I talk very calm, very low, like whispering in their ear, like
Mm-hmm.
Barry White and shit.
Yeah.
Just calm them down. Okay. Because especially if they're black, and I hate saying it like that. It sounds weird, but the conditioning right now in the
Mm-hmm.
black community is that law enforcement is hunting black people like a bad scene out of a horror flick. We are just hunting them down. Oh, just look at here, and that's not the case. And I've literally had people like afraid, shaking,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to like calm down. It's not that serious. Like, no, man, y'all be going around here killing people. I said, no, no, my agency hasn't shot somebody in an entire year. Granted, it's the beginning of the year, but still, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think we shot one person last year, and they weren't even black. But when the media portrays this, and you'll see the tricks. Like people need to pay attention. Like when they're being propagandized, um, white cop shoots black man. Okay, so if it's a black cop that shoots a black man, they'll say police officer shoots black man.
Yeah.
So that is when I read that, oh, okay, that means a ethnic person shot another ethnic person,
I'll be
So
honest with you. The one that worried me the most that we like, I don't buy into the propaganda that we're being hunted down, but the one that really did worry me the most about that actually being true was the Breonna Taylor.
okay,
And
so
and
I
that was because the no knock warrants plus all these like different details. I'm like, dude, there's got to be some type of like
so what is going back and forth, and actually I end up touching base with one of the police officers that are in that department through Instagram. All right, because we were going back and forth on a law enforcement thing, and with no knock warrants, my libertarian kicks in. And what's this fucking bullshit? You shouldn't be doing that. The Constitution, um, that, and he explained it a lot to me. There's more to that case than the general public knows. Like they've been watching Breonna Taylor for over a year. Um, she has been in connections with some shady people. Again, does not justify her death. Okay, um, she was under investigation for one of her cars that she rented. A dead body was found in it. Yeah, yeah. So I'm not saying she's an angel, and even if she was an angel, doesn't necessarily mean her death.
yeah.
Um, Now, from what I'm hearing from the readout I read on the case, that they did knock. The no knock warrant was issued on, because when I've taken part in a number of search warrants, when we hit a house, we're hitting, if we're having multiple targets, we hit them simultaneously. Okay, so the no knock warrant was for the house, the other house that the ex boyfriend was subject to stay at.
Mm,
Okay, and her house was also in the warrant. They did have pre-surveillance on the home. Usually we do pre-surveillance on the home if we're going to hit a house within 24 hours. We have somebody sitting on that house or that apartment, surveilling the house, documenting tags coming in and out, who frequents that home. Okay, now the boyfriend said he did not know it was law enforcement and shot. Okay, if that is the case, I could understand why he didn't get, all charges were dropped on him. Okay. When I've issued search warrants, we knock, and we're very, especially my agency, we're very strict on that. We're knocking. Sheriff's office, open up, open up. We already have someone in the back of the door if anybody runs out, and we're watching the corners. Sheriff's office, open up, and we'll knock, 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 knock. Because at the end of the day, even if they flush evidence, okay, we're we're doing a search warrant there, so we have enough to arrest them anyways. It's not going to sweeten the case,
yeah,
you know, unless it's child porn related or
yeah.
something like that. So, and I've had our command staff specifically say we don't want a Breonna Taylor situation.
Mm,
So I understand how certain agencies do things differently. Okay, and it there's more to that.
yeah. So let me ask you this though, like, so in that case where they do the no knock warrants and someone and they don't, and let's say they don't knock or announce themselves. So like, let's say they did knock, but like, because obviously that's their word. But let's say they didn't knock and that cop gets shot. Can you get in trouble for shooting that cop? That's the thing that I worry about because it's like somebody breaking into your house and they didn't announce themselves. I feel like that person should be allowed to get shot.
So that you're gonna get arrested.
You're getting
uh,
arrested.
hold on. Hold on. I'll text my wife real quick. Um, okay, so I kind of missed the question. You said
Like,
if
so basically,
somebody,
like if somebody busts in my house unannounced, they just that it should be perfectly acceptable for me to shoot them.
true, I agree, and this is why we stress announcing,
Yeah.
announcing.
But what could you think I would get in trouble though if somebody just if a cop just busted in my house and I shot him?
Yes,
Yeah.
But this is where like I'm torn between the powers of the state and what you as an individual should be able to defend yourself. Well, you're definitely going to get arrested, but then you still have to, like my house, we have cameras. You know what I mean? I have cameras in the front,
Mm,
back, inside the house.
yeah.
So if somebody said they knocked, if somebody's knocking at my door, like also my front doors, it's going to be a little difficult to kick it open. So usually if somebody's kicking at my front door, I already have my gun out and I'll be like, who is it?
Yeah.
Announce yourself now, and if it's law enforcement, then you better prove it. But
Yeah.
that is, I see the boyfriend did um he didn't get, because he did hit one of the officers, but he didn't get charged.
Oh, okay. Huh.
He did, they went to the court and the judge threw it out because he was saying, I didn't know it was them. It was a no knock warrant. I don't like no knock warrants.
Yeah, no, and see, I think they did something about that after that case too. I think they like
Yeah.
ended up
Trump did.
Trump
Trump had
did.
he had an executive order barring no knock warrants, but it's an executive orders. They don't really mean much, but he did, and he did have an executive order establishing a national database of bad cops. Um,
Mm. Hmm.
yeah, a lot of people don't know that because they don't pay attention to stuff. But but the media doesn't put it out there, you know. Um, Representative North Carolina Tim Scott, senator actually, he proposed that as well in a bill that Nancy Pelosi struck down. She called it a token bill, which he got pissed as fuck because he's a black senator.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's like, this token bill is like, you racist motherfucker. Y'all just be saying shit, just come out your mouth.
Nancy Pelosi said that.
Yeah.
I got that's another thing. I got mad when she did her little Kunta Kinte cloth thing. I was like, are you fucking serious, dude?
Did
When
you
she
see
did
the
that cloth and I was like, oh my God.
did you see that Coca-Cola meme where they had the bears and they were making the snowman? And
Uh-uh.
then I'll post it on TikTok, but like it's a snowman and because they do the Christmas stuff with the polar bears. So the
Yeah.
polar bear is like, okay, so they put a BLM mask on the snowman with a Kuta Kente cloth to be less white. Um, but it where was I going with this? But yeah, I mean, you have to look at situations when it comes to law enforcement. I don't like red flag laws. Um,
And what's that? What's that one?
Red flag laws,
Yeah.
where if somebody believes you're unfit to, well, okay, I don't like how red flag laws in certain states. In the state of Florida, if I have a mental issue and I attempted suicide, the agency, the law enforcement agency, the sheriff's office can petition the court with these facts and evidence to issue a warrant to seize your firearms.
Mm.
Okay, that's how it is in the state of Florida. So I don't necessarily like him in certain states where some neighbor could say, "Hey, he's going to kill himself," and then the cops could just come and take your guns. So
Oh.
yeah, so in the state of Florida, how we have it is there is some judicial process. The guns, once the judge has issued them to take the guns, it's temporary because then the person has to go to the court and say, listen, this is bullshit. They could say their piece. After a year, the agency has to give their guns back or prove why they should still hold the guns.
Hmm.
If he's had no incidents in a certain amount of time, they have to give the guns back. So there is some due process. There is some ways that people can not just have the government taking their firearms because some ex-girlfriend said they're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, so that is pretty much the issue.
Do police
But
officers get in trouble a lot with ex-girlfriends?
Yes. Actually, there's a couple of ways cops get fired here in law enforcement. One, well, there's mostly male, so you'll hear this when you come in. Like if I'm training somebody, I'm training a new cop fresh out of the academy. I said there's gonna be a couple reasons you're gonna get terminated. One is pussy. No fucking on duty. Don't not fuck these dispatchers. Okay. Do not break up people's marriages. It's like high school. Everybody's like horned up. Okay. Do not fuck the clerk at the 7-Eleven in the freezer. And there's a reason why I'm saying this. There is there's also when you're dating, don't let these chicks know that you're a cop. Because you'll see these dudes on like Tinder or something like in uniform. Do not post in uniform on Tinder or any dating site. Because there's these badge bunnies out here, and they done ran through a whole department. And you're just gonna be you're just a new recruit. You'll run through, and then it is what it is. But also we're held at a different standard too. Like domestic violence stuff is very strict. If yeah, you can get fired like that. You know, certain agencies. In my agency, we've actually had a deputy arrested for alleged domestic violence, and booked into our jail, and still keep his job.
Huh?
Yeah, because the wife recanted her story. Which I told my wife, listen, if you get me arrested, we getting a divorce. that's the only other way we're getting a divorce. I'm going to jail. It's not gonna work.
Yeah.
There's no coming back from that.
Yeah.
But cops. I don't like some of the things that some of these agencies are talking about, having like these guns that will fire a less lethal round and then fire lethal rounds after it, because in any shooting you will fire multiple times and not know how many times you've shot. So when shooting was shot tire, I fired 9 times. I thought I fired 3.
Yeah.
You know, so that's stupid. You don't want to mix lethal and less lethal up together.
What do you think about the body cam stuff?
I like them.
Why do so many cops in these situations have their fucking body cams off?
Off? Not every agency has body cams.
No. I think it was Breonna Taylor. They had body cams, but they were off. And I think there was another one too.
They had it off?
Yeah.
That's, you get fired in certain agencies. You could get fired for having it off.
Yeah, like I feel like I don't necessarily think you should get fired for having it off. Like I'm not totally against that, but I think that if you have a body cam and something in dispute happens and you have your body cam off, you should be at the disadvantaged state.
Yeah. So in certain agencies, the technologies with body cams is like, a friend of mine, he's the police chief of a neighboring agency, right? We're really good friends. His agency, the minute you turn on your sirens, your cameras turn on. The minute you draw your weapon, your body camera turns on. They even now have gun cameras.
Oh, wow.
Where there's a camera attached to the gun, because sometimes in shootings, because the body camera is either here, you don't really get to see the entire motion because the hand is covering. So the gun cam is pretty cool. You can't turn it off. Okay. Also, the certain things that people will do, and you'll see this too, like you'll see like certain agencies where they're in a pursuit and just amazingly the body camera flies off. You know? It's like, oh, you know, because certain agencies will fire you for stupid things or write you up for stupid things pertaining, like one of the neighboring agencies, they wrote one of their officers up. He's running code Code is lights and sirens in his
Code is
car.
what?
Lights and sirens.
Okay.
So he's running code. He has lights and sirens, and after a while, you've been doing this for a while. It's like second nature. Like my blood pressure doesn't even go up anymore. I'm just running lights and sirens, and he's running lights and sirens. He takes a drink, puts it down. He got written up for that for distracted driving
Oh, wow.
per his body camera. And I was like, come on, really? Like distracted drive. I'm literally watching my laptop, reading updates,
Yeah,
going
yeah. Yeah,
going
that's
lights and
what I
sirens.
wonder. Yeah, because that doesn't make because I know cops too. They have like the laptop there, and it's like you can't drink, but you can look at a laptop.
Yeah,
It's like
it
I'm pretty.
is. Yeah, so like I'm going lights and sirens. I'm looking over. I'm reading updates, on the call as I'm going up to an intersection, and it's just second nature. And sometimes I do that I'll look away from the road to get away from the tunnel vision you get.
Mhm.
Because when you get that tunnel vision, you're not going to see a car coming from the side. So I'll look away and then look around to keep that vision up. But going back to body cameras, I like them because it helps us move, believe it or not. When it comes to like stupid disputes,
Mhm.
oh, I've had complaints on this one lady said, oh, well, he called me a stupid bitch, and then my sergeant's like, hey, did you call her a stupid bitch? Yes, I called her a stupid bitch. Okay. But this is the reason why I called her a stupid bitch, you know? Um, or I get complaints often. One time I was working in the richer part of the county, and this lady called and she's complaining to my sergeant about me. She said, first thing, I pulled her over because she was a blonde haired female. And I pulled her over because she was a blonde haired white female. No, I pulled you over because you're going 15 in 15 over in a 30-mile-per-hour zone. And I was just going to give you a warning, but then you ran your goddamn mouth. And then I said, no, I wasn't going that way. Like I give more warnings than anything. And then she just kept being a dot, 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 dot. No, I didn't do that. You're the only car on the road. So yeah. And I was going to give a warning. And then my sergeant's like, yeah, she said you racially profiled. I said, listen here, Sarge, I've never heard of driving while blonde. And I don't think that's what it means. And she's like, yeah. And she said she didn't like your tone. I said, Sarge, what did you want me to say? Did she want me to talk to her like this? Did she want me to talk? Like my sergeant's like, don't worry, I'll take care of it. But like, those are the type of complaints I get. Usually it's like uppity people that don't like the way that I'm talking to them or telling them that they're wrong because they got money and stuff.
Mm,
So,
yeah.
I pay your taxes. Yeah, you probably do. But here you go. Enjoy the ticket.
Yeah. So yo,
There's a lot.
let me
Yeah, I'll
do that.
let you go.
Yeah,
You
because
gotta bounce.
my girl, she's been patiently waiting for me to hang out with her, and I want
Oh,
to
I'm
do that.
sorry. I do talk a lot. I did warn you.
No, you're good. You're good. It's not a thing. I just don't want to. I don't want to like make her wait too long. I want
No,
to spend time with her for a little bit before I go to bed. But no, this is good. I definitely was saying got a lot of interesting stories. Um,
yeah,
do you like? Am I good to like? I'm gonna like probably try to put together some clips of interesting parts.
yeah. Go ahead. I kept everything
Okay.
PG.
what
I kept me.
what I'll do is I'll upload it on YouTube unlisted and give you the link and then you can review it. And if you see like anything that you don't want to do, you can
All right,
push
I got
on
you.
it. Yeah. But
Awesome.
yeah, I
Thanks.
like this. It'll be good content. I like mixing it in because I think it's good because well, I mean you got an interesting story, but also you're a black and cop, so you have both of those sides where it's like, sometimes are those
You
the
did.
opposing.
There's the clash, but yeah, there's I have a whole bunch of stories and things
Yeah.
that I've gone through with black people that stressful, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? But then I've had in situations where it is I know how to talk to people, and that's the biggest thing is knowing how to talk to people and showing everybody respect, even if it's the crackhead down the street.
Hmm.
You got to show some people respect, and a lot
Yeah.
of cops don't do that,
Yeah.
and that's where the humbleness comes in, and just realizing that you're not better than anybody. Just be humble. But hey, it's been fun, man.
Yeah, it's been fun. Thank you for having
Take it
this.
easy.
I'll hit you up. We can do this again.
Oh yeah,
You
anytime.
have a good night.
All right, take it easy, brother.
I see you.
Bye.
Bye.